Ross Marshall's world in EastEnders has completely shattered, and this time, there might be no way back. The man who once tried to hold his family together is now fighting to survive the fallout of his son Joel's horrifying crimes. After months of lies, guilt, and denial, the truth has finally caught up to him, and everyone in Walford wants him gone. It all began with one secret, a secret that would destroy everything Ross ever cared about. For months, Ross knew that Joel had been making disgusting recordings of women, including one involving a video that should never have existed. Deep down, Ross knew it was wrong, but instead of turning Joel in, he tried to protect him. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was love, but that choice would become the biggest mistake of his life. When Vicki found out the truth, her world was shattered. The man she loved had known about Joel's sick behavior and said nothing. After the attack, Vicki couldn't even look at him. She ended their relationship on the spot. No forgiveness, no second chances. She told him to stay away, and when she returned home from the hospital, Sharon made sure of it. Her words cut like a knife. Ross was never to step foot in her house again. Just like that, Ross lost everything: his home, his family, and his place in the community. He became an outcast, wandering the square like a ghost. He tried to reach Joel, who's now being held in a detention center, but no one wanted to hear it. Everyone in Walford had already made up their minds. Day after day, Ross drifted through the streets, empty-eyed, holding on to whatever scraps of dignity he had left. The once proud father was now just a man haunted by the consequences of his own silence. Then came Harvey. Of all people, Harvey was the one who didn't turn away. Maybe it's because he understood what it was like: the shame, the helplessness, the endless questions about where things went wrong. His own son, Aaron, had gone down a dark path too. He knew that kind of pain, the kind that eats you alive. So when he saw Ross standing there, broken and alone, Harvey did something that no one else would. He offered kindness. Ross admitted he'd been sleeping rough, no roof over his head, nothing to his name. Harvey didn't hesitate. He offered him a place to stay. Just a few days, just until he could figure things out. He even promised Kathy would understand. But deep down, he knew that was a promise he probably couldn't keep. Meanwhile, Vicki couldn't stop thinking about him. No matter how hard she tried, the memories wouldn't fade. Sharon and Kathy could see it. She was still torn between anger and heartbreak. So, they made a decision. A last-minute trip to the Lake District. A chance for her to clear her head, far away from Walford, far away from Ross. But as soon as she left, things took a darker turn. News spread fast around the square. Harvey had taken Ross in. The reaction was immediate and brutal. Neighbors whispered, faces turned away, and before long, Ian Beale made his stance crystal clear. Furious that Harvey had brought Ross into their world again, he dragged Ross's few belongings out onto the street and dumped them right in front of everyone. That public humiliation was the breaking point. Surrounded by the same people he'd known for years, people who once greeted him with smiles, Ross stood there, trembling but defiant. He finally snapped and spoke out. He told them he did everything he could to stop Joel, that he never meant to protect him. He admitted his mistakes, but asked a question no one wanted to answer. What would you have done if it was your own child? Would you have turned them in? Would you have been strong enough? The crowd stayed silent. Some looked away, others shook their heads. No one believed him. To them, Ross wasn't a grieving father, he was an accomplice. His words didn't erase what Joel had done, and they didn't erase the months he spent hiding the truth. The only person who stood beside him was Harvey. He reminded everyone that none of them were perfect. He even called out Ian directly, bringing up how he once hid the truth about his own son Bobby's past. It was a reminder that Walford is built on secrets and no one there is without sin. But even with Harvey's support, Ross continued to spiral. The guilt was too much, the judgment too loud, and the shame impossible to escape. He turned to alcohol, drinking from morning to night, trying to drown the noise in his head. His face grew pale, his voice cracked, and soon, even Harvey couldn't reach him. One night, it all came crashing down. Harvey and Anthony found Ross collapsed in an alley, motionless, cold, and barely breathing. They rushed to help him, desperate to save what little was left of him. It was a pitiful sight, a man once respected, now reduced to nothing but regret and sorrow. They carried him back to the house, hoping no one would find out. But of course, in Walford, secrets never stay hidden for long. Kathy saw them as she was leaving for the lakes and she exploded. She couldn't believe what Harvey had done. But this time, Ian surprised everyone. He defended Ross. He told Kathy that they all know what it feels like to hit rock bottom, to make mistakes you can't take back, to wish you could rewrite the past. Still, Kathy wasn't having it. She warned them that Sharon and Vicki could never find out about this. Not until they were ready to face the fallout. Because if they did, everything would blow up all over again. Now, Ross lies low, torn between guilt and survival, while the rest of Walford simmers with tension. Everyone's talking, everyone's judging, but no one really knows what comes next. And here's the thing about EastEnders: secrets always find their way to the surface. When Sharon and Vicki return from the Lake District, they'll discover what really happened, and when they do, it's going to tear through the square like wildfire. Will they see Ross as a broken man trying to make things right? Or as someone who deserves every ounce of punishment coming his way? The walls are closing in, and this time there might be no escape, because in Walford, no one stays forgiven forever.